Salutations and welcome to the Rant Squad. I am your host, the Water Dog. This is
Clint Jordan.
And this is
Brendan Menard.
And we are rocking and rolling, brother. We're going to be talking about the NFL all the way through the first 8 weeks. We're going to be giving out our October report card, brother. We're going to tell you who was the surprise team, who was the disappointed team, who's our MVPs, and we're going to tell you how our playoff predictions look. So we're going to get into all that good stuff, and we're going to start with our biggest surprise team. What team right now in the league? I'll start with you, Mr. Clint. What team right now in the league is your biggest surprise of where they're at, what they're doing, and everything else?
Pittsburgh Steelers.
Oh, yeah!
I will admit that I thought, stop. Listen, there's no doubt. Listen, they're great. They're a great organization. They are a winning organization. They have a great coach. There's no doubt. I just didn't know if they had the firepower deal. But what it is their defense is just playing so well and putting their offense in good situations. I was not a fan of benching Justin Fields just because he had been winning. I understand you want to see, but Russell Wilson does look to be better for that offense. I don't think we're seeing an offense that can compete with those like Baltimore, but they have the defense to hold them back so that they can score enough. I've just been happy, especially game 2. I think game 2 with Russ last night against the Giants. I know it's just the Giants, but you saw, George Pickens scored that touchdown. It's just a caveat that he didn't get both feet. He got 1 foot twice. But just really impressed. And I think the reason too that I think that offense is playing so well is Najee looks the best he has looked since his rookie season. And even his rookie season,
300-yard games in a row.
I know, but even his rookie season, it was the receptions. He's just running so much better. They are playing. Their special teams has the best unit in the NFL right now. 100% the Steelers they are playing team flow football, and I love to see it.
Do they win the division? Yes.
No, I can't put them. I don't.
Well, I think the reason I feel so confident, I think they have a great defense, and this is the Russell Wilson we kind of saw in Seattle for a little bit.
It'll come down to the Steelers-Ravens game.
Strong defense, can run the football, throw the deep ball. You've got some playmakers.
Now, that would be interesting to see Baltimore's offense versus this defense.
And
I got a feeling.
It'll come down to those 2 games.
It's always hard fought.
And last year, the Steelers beat them twice.
Yeah.
Beat them twice last year, and that was 2 losses that really kind of, hurt the Ravens a little bit. And that was really their only crack in the shell when you got into the AFC Championship was those Steelers.
But you also have to think Baltimore did lose 2 games to start the season.
And then they just lost.
They just lost.
But I have faith in.
So it could come down to head-to-head.
It will. It will come down to head-to-head.
All right, Pittsburgh Steelers. Well, I'm going to go with the Denver Broncos. 6-2. I thought that they would be better with Sean Payton. We even talked about that in our very opening show, and I actually laid out statistics about quarterback improvement under Sean Payton. I remember he going through all the data and the stats and doing all that stuff, saying this is a team that's going to be a lot better than we think. I thought it would be about a 500 ball club, but be where they are at right now. They're a playoff team. Right now they are a playoff team. I don't think they'll catch Kansas City. But definitely they are playing some really good defense. Bo Nix has played better each week. And they're just, once again, you got Sean Payton. I know you don't like him as a coach, but I think they're well coached under Payton.
He's a good coach. I was just saying, I don't know if he is in that elite echelon that people try to put
I just have to have I feel like they really haven't played anyone, which, that's what happens when you have a last place schedule. You're going to play a weaker schedule. I'm curious. I know they're 5-3. I still feel like they're a 500 team. Just until I see that, when they get to play Kansas City, how much of a game is that? I don't know their schedule, what it looks like.
Kansas City looks a little weak though. Kansas City, even though they're undefeated, they just got some holes.
Yeah, but they run the ball and they play great defense.
Well, they play fourth quarter very well. So when the game,
they're the best situational team.
Situational, third down, fourth quarter, that's where they're at.
I like the Broncos. I like what they're doing. I want to see it against a good team.
Okay, all right. Well, Mr. Brady, who you got?
I love both of your picks because it allows me to sit on this table and jump up and down for the Washington Commanders.
Absolutely.
6-2 on the season. Nobody would have predicted that with a rookie quarterback with this team. I went ahead and just looked at the stats. Points per game, offensively, they're number 3. Yards per game, number 3. Yards per play, number 3. And touchdowns per game, number 5. Defensive points per game, number 10. Who would have picked the Commanders to have that, right? And I think, there was a game with Baltimore that they lost, but was really close, very competitive game with that. They could have been 7-1. This is a really good team, and I feel very confident that they can beat Philly in the head-to-heads and maybe win this division.
Okay, all right.
No, let's look at it. This is what, week 8, and I swear, 5 of these 8 weeks we talked about the Eagles falling apart and Sirianni getting fired.
Yeah, but the
The
Eagles
Commanders
look
are
great
playing
the last few
so
weeks.
good.
I think the Eagles have gotten their heads back on. I mean, if you look at what they've done the last couple of weeks, I think they figured it out. I think what it is they're letting Jalen Hurts run the football more instead of throwing the football. That gives them an opportunity to have fewer turnovers. And if Jalen Hurts doesn't turn the football over, they win every game.
We'll see. I have a lot of confidence in this Commanders team, and we've seen Philly be shaky. So,
Well, but I'm with Kelly. This week when they played the Bengals, it was the first time this season I saw flow. The offense it looked good. It didn't look forced. I think if we keep seeing that. Hey, what did I say when we started? I said Philly's going to start slow. They're going to be shaky. New offensive coordinator, new center, all that. They look good.
Here we go. Biggest disappointment team. Clint, who is disappointing you so far after 8 weeks? We are in October. Will it be the team that I keep telling you is disappointing you?
All right, look, I'm going to say it, and then we're just going to move to Brendan. It's the Jets, okay? It's the Jets. But they will win this week. Go
I'm
ahead.
next.
Or Kelly, go ahead.
All right. Dallas Cowboys. By far and away, it's the Dallas Cowboys. They are just not playing good football. And I'm a Mike McCarthy fan. I actually think he's a very good coach. I think if you were looking at the top 10 coaches in the NFL, I would put him in the top 10 coaches. He has coached the Cowboys very well, but this season he has not coached the Cowboys well. And I can't tell if it's scheme or if he just doesn't have the personnel. Because McCarthy likes to run the football, and they cannot run the football. Then you talk about the defense. They've got absolutely no defense right now. There's just no
pass
defense.
rush.
And then when you think that they can do things like, in the San Francisco game here this past weekend, right? They all of a sudden they have a chance. They've got the ball. They have a chance, Dak Prescott to get the go-ahead touchdown and win that game. And then some of the play calls. I mean, the first 2 play calls. Why are you throwing it? Trying to throw 10 yards.
Hey, they have the best fourth quarter offense in the league.
Well, of course, because you're playing nothing but mop-up games.
I know.
Now they did have Herman that dropped the ball, on the third down play. But I'm just saying they've had their opportunities here and there. They've just been disappointing. I have picked them in and out throughout this season as far as where I think they would win games. And I thought this was a must-win game for them.
Off the bye, I thought there was no reason they should lose this game.
I didn't think so, especially with the injuries to the 49ers.
Yeah.
And now the defense played better in the first half. Now we'll say that their defense.
So I feel like the Cowboys, their problems are quarters 2 and 3. It seems like they play well. They're right there in the first quarter. In the fourth quarter, they're great. But the second and third quarters, they're letting it just get away from them.
Can you make second half adjustments? And I think that right now that's where McCarthy's just kind of weak. He's just not making the adjustments. And so there you go. So we already kind of figured Jets and Cowboys. Brendan, who you got?
Jets cheer. But do you know, because I was thinking about this, what is the one silver lining the Jets fans and Cowboys fans?
They're gonna have a top.
Do you know what it is?
They're both gonna have a top pick.
That we live in the era of NFL, and they can watch others win games on Sunday. Because watching their team is bad. Okay, the Jets 2-6, 25th in points per game, 24th in yards per game. And that defense is a problem. It's not the defense. The defense is still number 11 in points per game, number 4 in yards per game. It's the offense. It's Aaron Rodgers.
It's the turnovers. It's a mix because when Aaron makes a good throw, the receiver drops the ball. The receiver's wide open. Aaron makes a bad throw.
They have lost 2 games on field goals. They lost 2 games because of field goals.
why were you put in those?
I'm still saying,
their
I mean,
team
it's more than just. I mean, it's on everything, every aspect of that.
So
team
like,
sucks.
they're almost that. You look at Houston. Houston is 4 plays from being 3-5, 2-6, but they've been able to make work, and the Jets haven't made those plays.
Yeah, I don't know if Houston has that defensive ranking stuff.
Oh no! Oh, I don't know.
Points per game and all that, but my thing is this: the Denver game should not have come down to a field goal, and this game against the Patriots shouldn't have been close. They're much better. There's nothing more you can do. You have fired the coach. You have went and got the wide receiver. You have done all this, and it's not working.
I mean, the big thing, the big indictment is you've got the lead in Jacoby Brissett.
Not even a starter. Yeah.
Takes them down and marches down to get the winning touchdown. That's
my thing. So what is the problem with the Jets? Because they fired Saleh over the locker room and the team and all this. Nothing's changed.
Well, they're not a team. Well, the biggest thing is, really they were. I remember watching the Hard Knocks series about the Jets when Aaron Rodgers first came here to camp, and I knew this was a united team. You could see it with Saleh. You could see all the stuff.
The excitement.
Everything that was going on, and then that all in the moment he got hurt. The moment Aaron Rodgers got hurt, that changed the dynamic of that team. Okay? And then as the season dragged on, and as they started to play, not up to par, it got worse. And then you have all the things that Aaron Rodgers does, during the break, being Aaron Rodgers. That puts distance between you and your teammates, and between you and your coach. And all of a sudden, you've got a quarterback running the team. And so it's like, it's just not a good situation. So if it's me and I'm the owner, I get rid of him.
Well, he's done after this year.
We'll find out.
We'll see, because we don't know. He still might be running the team next year.
That's true.
All right, let's go to offensive MVP. So far this year, we're in the month of October. 8 weeks. MVP.
I went with the guy I was looking, and I truly believe, the MVP is not about this. Unfortunately, it comes down to stats, but I try my best to who is really the most valuable player in this football league right now. And I looked at a team that I thought was going to take not a big step back, but I thought they'd stumble. I thought they'd take a step back, and their quarterback has played far better than he has previously. He's not turning the ball over, and that's Josh Allen. He's got 14 touchdowns. He just threw his first pick this past week, and prior to getting Amari Cooper, they had a rookie as their number one. James Cook has emerged, but Khalil Shakir's okay. But I have no doubt. You take Josh Allen off that team, and this is not a winning football team. He makes the plays he's got to make, but he's being really smart with the ball this year because he doesn't have that Diggs. He doesn't have that voice in his ear. Just throw me the ball. Just throw me the ball. Just throw me the ball. He doesn't have Gabe Davis, who's just moonshots. I love Josh Allen.
I'm going with Jared Goff. Jared Goff, I think, is one of the most underappreciated quarterbacks in the NFL. And you would say, well, how is he underappreciated? And I would say, a lot of times pocket passers just get a lot of flack here lately because everybody wants the mobile quarterback. Everybody wants that, that quarterback that can move around and do all these different things. But if you're really looking at what's happening right now in the NFL, pocket passers.
It's always one.
Jared Goff, Kirk Cousins, Russell Wilson. Okay. These are guys that everybody would be like, they can't do it.
Stroud's a pocket passer.
And Stroud's a pocket passer. But he's also considered he's got the legs of mobile quarterback.
But he doesn't run. He can move the pocket. That's what Russell Wilson does.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson's more.
Jared Goff can do that. But pocket passers historically are how you're going to win in real football. Maybe not fantasy, but real
Well,
football.
I feel like they're how you prolong your window.
Yeah.
Get these stats though. Last 5 games, he's 88 for 106. 88 completions out of 106. That's an 83.7 completion percentage. 12 touchdowns. He has 136.6 rating. He's just been done. He's just not making mistakes.
He has. I think you could put a handful of quarterbacks in that system do the same thing. That's why I just can't have him as my.
See, that's
MVP.
why I always go he's underappreciated, because I don't think you could just stick somebody in that slot and think that they're going to do the same thing. Because I can't think of another quarterback that's going to lead that offense to play the way that they're playing, the way Jared Goff is.
Absolutely. Kirk Cousins could do it. C.J. Stroud could do it.
I think the biggest thing that people discount Jared Goff, and I'm kind of guilty of this. Going into the season, I kind of looked at this roster, and I thought they would be like the old Alabama Crimson Tide teams. The number one defense, two great running backs who run the football and play that style of football. And he has shown that he is more than just the handoff guy.
Well, he showed that last year, but
And
this year the running game's better than it was last year.
Yep.
Don't get me wrong, he is the perfect quarterback for what they want to do. I'm not denying that. He's stacked. I just can't have him as my MVP just because, like I said, I just think you could.
I just sit there and I look at him and I'm just sitting here going, here's a quarterback that's learned a lot from Sean McVay because you can see how he's reading everything at the line of scrimmage and you can see how he goes quickly through the progressions. You can see how he's making great decisions off the ball. And there is a difference between that. Nothing sweet. Kirk Cousins, my favorite quarterback in the NFL. I admit it freely. That's my bromance. There you go. But Goff is playing much better than him, and I think Goff is a better fit in Detroit than Kirk Cousins could ever be because the one thing that Goff had that Kirk Cousins doesn't have, and that's the chip on my shoulder that I got kicked off on the Super Bowl winning team and on the Super Bowl taking team to a quarterback, and all of a sudden you don't think I'm worthy. He's got that. That's something that Detroit needed. That Kirk Cousins doesn't have.
Well, they needed that sting of trading away Stafford and then instantly seeing him go. No, it's a trade that's worked out for both teams, and they're going to continue to.
He fits very well with Campbell's mindset in Detroit.
And that's why, to me, they're the best team in football right now.
Oh, they are. Super Bowl pick. Just point that
You
out.
might be right about that, honestly. Lose your best defensive player and still.
Well, I still think that they need to pick up a defensive lineman before the deadline. I still think that they need to do that. So they need to. Brendan, who you got? Who's your offensive MVP?
So, Josh Allen, Jared Goff. I think for me, the problem with this MVP, or especially offensive MVP, I think the best thing that like baseball does is have the Cy Young and the MVP. I think football needs to do something like that. Because the MVP is a quarterback award. So I went with a non-quarterback for my
I
MVP.
wanted to, and I'm curious if we were all the same.
I'm going with Derrick Henry. My reasoning for Derrick Henry is I thought he has brought so much balance to this offense. I think it's made Lamar better. Because he's not having to force it. He's not having to run and take extra shots. He could lean on Derrick Henry, and you just look at his stats alone, and Derrick Henry has been really good this year. But I think overall, what he has helped that Ravens team, I think they could actually make a deep playoff push this now. Just with their ability to run the football, Lamar's not taking extra hits while running, and he's just dominant. He's almost got 1,000 yards on the season.
Touchdown every game.
9 rushing touchdowns and 2 receiving touchdowns. So I think I always try to make it a point.
Okay, yeah, 2-year-old flipping horn.
Well, if my horn keeps blowing the music, brother, we gonna keep dancing.
I was really close, like, just looking at the numbers. The way Joe Mixon has just played in that Texans offense, I just couldn't. Yeah. He missed the 2 or 3 games, so it's hard to do it.
Well, I even try to kind of pick statistics will help back.
But I like Henry.
But I think just the balance he brought to that team.
I think it's the same for Saquon Barkley over there in Philadelphia. I think Philadelphia plays better when they've got Saquon going and everything else. Look, you cannot ever underappreciate running it. You have to just want them because the best teams have always been able to run the football. And if you can run the football, it's the quarterback's best friend. I don't care if you're Patrick Mahomes, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady. You run the football, it's their best friend. You win football games if you can run the football. All right, defensive MVP, Mr. Clinton.
I'm actually going with a defensive back that just has a nose for turnovers this year. It's Xavier McKinney.
Green Bay, 6 interceptions already through 8 games. I think he's all over the field. I think that's one thing that while Green Bay didn't have Jordan Love, and you look at the most recent game, who did they play? Who did they play last week? Jacksonville. Jacksonville was, they lost Love in the game. They were having to kind of go to Willis late, and you could tell he wasn't ready. He hadn't get the snaps. He wasn't brought the game up, but McKinney made an interception late to help the team. I think McKinney, it's underappreciated because I feel like it's really rare. I can't remember a DB winning defensive MVP since Troy Polamalu, but everybody knew Polamalu because he was always around the line of scrimmage. But I just think, man, 6 interceptions already. I don't see him stopping. He might be behind Saquon as the best free agent pickup this offseason behind Derrick Henry and Saquon. Man,
they were both from the Giants. That's just sad. But yeah,
The Giants
I
the Giants defense the last few years have been really, really good and have gotten better. And yeah, and so don't get me started being a Giants fan.
Like I said, they lost their two best players, but go ahead, Mr. Waterdog. That's my MVP.
I'm going to stick with the same guy I picked last month in September. It's T.J. Watt. T.J. Watt is playing the best defense in football right now. He's on the team. He's got the best defense, I think, right now in football. He currently has 7 sacks, 4 forced fumbles. He's got 2 recoveries, and that's not to mention all the things that he does that just sets everybody else up on that defense to make plays, and all the pressures that he's just putting on. He is the machine that goes, and he's just he is the best defensive player in the league.
Absolutely. And I didn't know until they brought up Monday Night Football that the Steelers had the lowest blitz rate in the league. And that's crazy because I feel like they're always getting that.
You would feel like that they are, but because they can get when you can get pressure
Outside
with your
the
down
deep,
four,
yeah.
when you can do that, when you can get that, then you don't have to blitz. You can just do so much more.
Absolutely.
And I mean, me being a Giants guy, I mean that's back when with Michael Strahan and they had
Justin Tubb, Oshie
Muir,
Muir,
and you just simply send those 4. You didn't have to blitz because those 4 guys were constantly putting pressure. And so but yeah, it for me it's Watt, and it's another reason why the Steelers are 6-2, and so they're going into a bye, and so they should be feeling really good. We're going to see what happens. We're going to see what Russell Wilson does in the second half.
Absolutely.
I'm really looking forward to see what the next 2 games how the Steelers play. If they end up winning those 2 games, and they end up being 8-2.
See what happens.
Brandon, guy.
So, I think T.J. Watt is the best defensive player in the league. I'm going to pick someone else just so we have a little bit of variety. I wanted to pick Max Crosby. I know he hasn't played every game, but I think, not even on the stat sheet, but watching the game, he's so impactful. He was at Patrick Mahomes almost every other snap in that game. Why don't I go with Fred Warner for the San Francisco 49ers? I think he's had a really good year with that defense, and
Defensive quarterback.
Yep, he really is the defensive quarterback of that team, and I'll be very interested to see what the rest of the season looks like for them. But I was going to pick somebody different.
Well, they're going to probably have to lean on the defense a little bit more. I mean, they really are going to have to lean on that. And look, it was actually one of their strengths last year. Okay, and once again, it's been kind of a crazy wackadoodle year so far. There's been some surprises that we didn't expect to see.
But I do think T.J. Watt will be the MVP at the end of the year, or the defensive player, whatever you want to call it.
Defensive player of the year. Absolutely.
T.J. Watt's going to win.
All righty, gang, let's rock and roll. Playoff changes. So, Clint, when you looked at who you were putting in, okay, and then you made some changes in September, and
I couldn't remember exactly, so I was just going to run through it. I know I've still got Buffalo winning the East. Every other team in that division has 2 wins. Although the Dolphins, I think, are a sneaky candidate now that they've got Tua back to really get after it. South, I've still got Houston winning. I do think having the 2 wins over Indianapolis is huge. Unfortunately, the schedule gets tough from here. I think it's we've got the Jets, who just aren't going to be an easy win, especially without your top 2 wide receivers. Then we play Detroit. Then we play the Cowboys. The Cowboys is always a tough game. I think we have the Titans and the Jags. Then we go into the even worse, Miami, Kansas City, Baltimore. I mean, that is 6 tough games that this team has got to find a way to be 500 in those 3 games if they want to really be a force to be reckoned with. I do still think when it comes down to it, having the sweep of the Colts is going to be huge because I think that's the biggest threat to the division. The West, you still have Kansas City. I do change it up in the North. I shifted Baltimore into winning the division just because at this point, the Bengals being 3-5 and the Ravens being 5-3, I believe. I find it hard to see a path where the Ravens finish with less wins. I'm not pushing the Bengals out. They're 3-5, but I'm not pushing them out.
Okay? You got to pull the plug.
No, I'm not. The fork isn't in them yet. Maybe next week.
I left the hospital.
It is what it is. I got the Steelers as the 5 seed. I just don't. I think Baltimore will find a way to win those head-to-head games. I've still got the Chargers. I trust their coach more. I trust the team more, especially if I think they're a big. The trade deadline is next Tuesday. I think they're a big team to possibly go get another wide receiver. And then I'm sticking with the Bengals and that 7th seed. Joe Burrow was asked, at what point is the hole too deep? And he said, we need 10 wins.
We got to win 7. We got to win 7 out of 9. You can do it. They can do it. Joe Burrow can pull this team together. I was really shocked with the Eagles game because I thought that Joe Burrow first drive came out 11, 12, 16, a touchdown. The offense just couldn't get it done, but I have faith. So that's my AFC, NFC. Still the Eagles winning the division. Still Detroit winning the division. I have shifted Atlanta into the division. I mean, win for the South. I love Tampa Bay, but losing your top 2 wide receivers, and now they've lost the season sweep to the Falcons. I think that's just going to be too hard to overcome. San Francisco will find a way to continue to get back and win this division. For the West, I do have the Commanders finally in the playoffs. I really like them. They're 6-2. They don't have the hardest of schedules. I just find it hard to believe that they're not going to find a way to at least go 4-5 in the rest of the year and make it in. And then I've got 2 more North teams, Minnesota and Green Bay. I've said it from the beginning of the season. I like Green Bay. They find ways to win. They've got to get Love healthy. But even when they don't, Malik Willis has played well in his absence. And Minnesota is looking good too. So that's where I feel. So I've got the Cowboys out.
Okay.
The Rams was the hard one. They're like on my bubble. I love the Rams. I couldn't find a way.
Okay. All righty. Well, a lot of similarities and some differences and stuff. From my changes that I had back in September, I had taken, Jaguars out and I had put the Colts in. That was the big change for me. So I had Buffalo winning the division, KC, Baltimore, Houston. It looks like that still is going to be what's going to actually happen. And then I had the Jets, Jags, and Pittsburgh as my wild card teams. But it doesn't look like the Jets or the Jags are going to make that happen. So I had taken the Jags out already and placed the Colts in. So in the AFC, who's out for me here in October? I'm taking the Jets out and I'm putting the Broncos in. So the Broncos being 6-2. Once again, I'm not as sold on the San Diego Chargers as you are. I actually think that the Broncos are playing better football overall, and I like the Broncos defense.
We'll see. They haven't played head-to-head yet, have they?
Not yet, that I think of.
So that'll be a big decider between those 2 teams.
Wait a minute, have they played head-to-head?
I don't know. I'd have to look it up
again.
I'll look it up quick.
But I just think that they're a better team, especially on the defensive side of football, and we'll go from there. So that's what it looks like in the AFC for me. So in the AFC, it's going to be Buffalo, KC, Baltimore, Houston. Okay, Pittsburgh, I still got the Colts, even though they're 4-4. They did pull Richardson out, and they're going to put Flacco in, which I think is going to be good. And then the Broncos, so that's my 7 teams. In the NFC, I had taken the Rams out, and I had put the Seahawks in. That's what I had done. So I had, so for my division, I had, Dallas, San Francisco, Detroit, Atlanta, and then we had Philly, Minnesota, Seattle. Right now for me, I'm taking the Cowboys out. That's right. Unbelievable. And I'm going to take the Cowboys out. I'm going to move them out, okay? And I'm going to put the Rams back in. I probably should be putting Green Bay here somewhere in the bubble.
They're definitely in the bubble.
Okay, I should be putting them somewhere in the bubble, so I'm probably going to be taking Seattle out and sticking Green Bay in. So I think that's going to be for me, which I think is the thing. So we're going to go with Dallas. We got the Rams, we got the Lions, we got the Falcons, we got the Philadelphia, the Rams, the Lions, the Falcons, the Vikings, the 49ers, and the Packers.
For reference, they have played once already. They played in week 6. The Chargers did win. So the Chargers are. So if they were tied right now, they have the tiebreaker. So the second game is going to be huge. If the Chargers sweep them and they fit, then it's going to be hard for the Broncos to
get
beat them out for the playoff spot.
All right, who you got, Mr. Brandon?
All right, so let's just start out with I have the Kansas City Chiefs at 1.
Sure.
And then I got Buffalo at the 2. And then I got Houston at 3. Pittsburgh at 4. I'm going to kind of double down. I think Pittsburgh wins that division at the 4. Baltimore will be number 5 for me. And then we got to the teams we've taken out. First off, no surprise to anybody who's been watching this, but the Jets are going to be out in the playoffs for me. We'll get to that in okay. So then I'm going to have the Chargers taken out. Okay.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to take the Chargers out. Replacing the Jets with the 6th seed. Indianapolis Colts.
Wow.
If Flacco starts the rest of the season.
That's the thing. Does this become a week-to-week thing? Like,
If it is, if Richardson plays again, they don't make the playoffs. I told you this before we started shooting.
Yeah.
But if I'm just going to go on the premise that they see the light, that Flacco is the way, they're going to make the playoffs with him. And then I had a coin flip, really kind of on this. The Chargers, I'm going to take them out. I'm going to put the Broncos in. Bo Nix has gotten better and better and better. I think that's a coin flip between those two.
I will give you that.
I'm going to go with Denver on that one.
That's fine.
I have no NFC changes. But just to recap, I'm going to put Detroit at the 1 seed. I think they just proven it at this point. You know, how many teams can lose their best defensive player and not even look like they lost one?
They did play.
Hey, man. Okay, at the number 2 seed, I'm going to San Francisco 49ers.
Wow, really? You think they're going to be able to win enough games to get into the 2 seed?
I got a feeling that's a good team. I like Shanahan. At the 3, double down on this one too, the Commanders at the 3 seed. And Atlanta at the 4. I got Philly at the 5th. Because I think them and Washington will be close, but because of it,
it's going to come down to the head.
Yeah, they'll come down. I got Minnesota at 6. And I still have Tampa Bay. Because they showed me, even without their 2 receivers, they can be competitive.
And they have to win this game before the bye.
Yeah, but I think I'm still going to roll with Tampa. That gunslinger, they showed me no receivers. We're still going to go make this a competitive
Absolutely.
game. And when you got a guy like that, who knows what you can do.
Sure.
All righty. Well, folks, that is our October report, brother. We appreciate you watching. We've been the Rant Squad. I'm the Water Dog.
Clint Jordan.
And this is.
Ray Menard.
And folks, we are out of here.